Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Heather, and today we're diving into some BookTok drama that has been driving me absolutely nuts. Do all books really need sprayed edges? And do all books need to have special edition? Pour yourself a cup of tea and or coffee, no judgment here, and let's get to it. So unless you've been living under a rock or, away from the bookish corners of TikTok, you probably have noticed your feed filling up with videos of stunning books with beautiful sprayed edges, gold foiling, exclusive art, and oh yes, those elusive special editions that seem to sell out in seconds. There's a growing trend, a sort of arms race for the most aesthetically pleasing bookshelves. And BookTok has opinions and some very passionate opinions about it, that's for sure.
Let's talk about an epidemic that is quote unquote special editions that aren't really special anymore. They're kind of mass produced. Or why are we re-releasing books just to have sprayed edges with them as a money grab? I think special editions aren't really becoming as special anymore. And some of these publishers are being really lazy about it. I don't want just a plain colored sprayed edge. That feels lazy. You're trying to grab for that moolah, but you can't even successfully get my attention. If you're gonna be lazy about it, just don't do it. I know that we all love pretty books. I love pretty books. I need all of them. Give them to me. But can we stop falling for this? I don't want to even say make special editions special again because, ew. Are special editions even that special anymore?
This might be a little bit of a bookish hot take, but is anybody else just done with sprayed edges? Because they used to be really cool, and I used to really covet them and really prize the sprayed edges that I had in my collection. But nowadays you go into a bookstore and every single book has sprayed edges. And granted, some of them are just the flat color, and I think that's different, but so many of them now have the designs and the patterns and the objects on them, and it's not special anymore. It's overdone. And I'm kind of done with it. I think it's a trend that we can just do away with.
So first of all, what are sprayed edges exactly, and what are these special editions? I'm assuming you may know, but we're going to start with the basics anyways. For anyone who might not be familiar, sprayed edges are when the sides of the pages, the bits you see when the book is closed, are colored or even designed with patterns or art or glitter. I have a few myself, so I'm not a complete hater. I do have some. And so here's some examples of some horror novels that I have, some scary books, if you will. Oh my God, hold on. So here are two examples. So I'm not a complete hater. I have some sprayed edges books. This one has all these cool little mushrooms on it. This one has trees and stuff. So I love a good design. I love a good special edition. I get these from a book box called Twisted Retreat, and they sell horror themed special edition books. So these are two of them. Here's this one. I have yet to read these, by the way. They're just really cool. And here are a couple more of my favorites. This is The Poppy War, which I actually haven't read yet either. But it's got these amazing sprayed edges as well. And it's also got a ribbon bookmark, which I love. So I do love a good collector's edition, even for books that I haven't even read yet. So I do have this. But also there's so many paperbacks now coming out with the sprayed edges. And some of them, it's well, did this really need sprayed edges? So I probably would have bought this book anyways, even if it didn't have the sprayed edges. A lot of books just have simple one color sprayed edges now, which I think, why are we doing this? I don't know. The cover alone is cute enough. I don't think it really needed this, but oh well. And also back in the day, this random book, this sci-fi book, is from 1977. And as you can see, we've got some sprayed edges that are very similar to the book I just showed you. There are a lot of sprayed edges books from the 70s like this. And so you might come across them in a used bookstore or in a thrift shop. But these books, this one's not particularly good, so I don't really recommend this particular book, by the way. It's not. I mean, I read halfway through and I was like, I'm good. In doing some research, I learned that sprayed edges and gilded edges, as they were called, or four-edge painting, has been around for centuries. And back then it had a very specific purpose. Sure, it was to make the book look cool, but also they could tell if there were pages missing from the book, because the pattern would be messed up a little bit. This was typically used in the 70s as well to seal the pages and to protect it from damage. Apparently the pages were very acidic back then, and they would discolor and they would turn different, look a little gross. So the color on the edges actually make the book kind of last a little longer. That is my very rough explanation of it. But there was a purpose and a reason, like why this particular book has sprayed edges, was probably just a very economical reason. I don't know if it was to make it look pretty. Maybe. And also, people like to call sprayed edges spreaders. Spredges. So yeah, a lot of people really like these, and I do have a bunch in my own collection behind me. But for some reason, I feel like every single book I see when I go to the bookstore is being created with these edges all of a sudden. And while they're great, it tends to up the price a little bit. So let's talk about that. So just to be clear on this, so I don't have anyone that's super mad in the comments, but I am not a hater of sprayed edges or special editions. I have plenty of them myself. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're great to own. And there's no denying holding a book that just feels like a work of art. Like holding this edition of The Poppy War, which I got on TikTok Shop actually, not sponsored. But holding this edition, I mean, it feels like a work of art. And there's beautiful illustrations inside. I'm pretty pumped about this. It's beautiful. So I get the allure of it. I am definitely pulled in myself. So why is there drama about this? Well, let's talk about it. Lately, I'm hearing some random people saying, like, on BookTok, also on Reddit and other places, kind of voicing their frustrations with the sprayed edges. It seems like every new release, every hyped book, every single backlist title that gets re-released, you get a special edition, you get the sprayed edges, and some of them just have tiny differences. Some have like slightly different colored edges for every retailer. Some come with so many different extras. It's just kind of overwhelming. So it's kind of like, I hear people being like, I can't keep up with this, like I want to collect all the books from this author, but it's just out of my budget, or my wallet, is crying because I cannot afford all of these books and I want to support. Why are publishers continuing to push out these expensive editions? And of course, there's also the age-old debate, should owning a book be about the story inside, or are we collecting for just the pure aesthetic of owning that book now? And like I said, I'm kind of split on that because I enjoy having a beautiful book on my bookshelf, but not every book needs to be beautiful. I can appreciate a good paperback once in a while with no sprayed edges. That's fine. So when it specifically comes to BookTok, there's a lot of pressure to own these beautiful editions and to display them on your bookshelf, especially if you create content. You might have been sucked into this at some point, making your bookshelves look very aesthetically pleasing. And there's nothing wrong with that. If it's something you truly enjoy, that's fine. But there's this growing sense of pressure, right? A feeling that in order to be a real fan of that series or that author, you need to own every edition, every variant, every exclusive drop, in that book box that you can only get that 1 month. So it's not just all about reading the book anymore. It's about proving your love by curating the perfect shelf. We see it all over TikTok. People unboxing 5 different versions of the same book, or showing off rainbow rows of sprayed edges on their shelves, and scrambling to pre-order every special edition before they sell out. And for a lot of readers, this is a lot of fun. And don't get me wrong, there's a thrill of the hunt when it comes to this kind of thing. It's the satisfaction of having a full collection. It's the joy of matching sets. And I am one of those people where if I have a book that's paperback in a series, I want to get the rest, and they got to be paperback. And if one has sprayed edges, I would feel like they all need sprayed edges. I just have that kind of feeling. And collecting them all is kind of like Pokemon. You got to catch them all, right? You got to get them all. But there's a darker side, I would argue, to all of this as well, because some people may start to feel left out. And I'm sure some of you are feeling left out, especially if they can't afford to keep up with this trend. Or you might live in a country where these special editions just aren't shipped, and they're not available where you live. So that's total FOMO. Like, you cannot get these books where you live, maybe, and that sucks. So scarcity and FOMO, those things are real, and those are real feelings, and they can suck the joy out of reading, because it comes like this race to collect, as many special editions as possible of that one book that you love. And you might become frustrated, or you might love it. It depends on who you are, I guess. And so my thought on all of this is that not every book needs to have sprayed edges or a special edition. Here's the thing: books are first and foremost about the words, about the stories, the world we escape to. A plain paperback with a cracked spine and coffee stains has just as much value as a foil stamped limited run hardcover, and maybe even more. I have some really old books in my collection that I've had since I was a kid, and they're well loved, they're falling apart, and I adore them, and I'll never get rid of them. So I feel like that is just as magical. So the obsession with aesthetics can sometimes overshadow what makes reading magical, what brought us all here in the first place, and why do we read? When books become literal status symbols or collector's items first and stories second, we lose something essential in that. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't appreciate beautiful books. I love a good, beautiful book myself, but maybe not every book has to be a limited edition masterpiece to be worthy of our shelves. I want to see everyone's messiest shelves. Look at my books. Some of them are, falling apart. And also I have library editions, because I get a lot of used books from Better World Books, not sponsored. And they're amazing, but they're going to be library editions or used copies, and they could be in varying levels of, use. And that's fine. And that doesn't make that book any less valuable to me. I like it. So I just want to put on this one video that I saw yesterday on BookTok, and I think it's a pretty good take on the whole sprayed edges debate.
Is it just me, or are we kind of over sprayed edges? There was a time where if a book had a sprayed edge, I would just buy it automatically, but now I feel like they're spraying edges of everything to the point where it almost makes a book look cheaper to me. Now, I don't hate all sprayed edges. There are some that are done right. Like, most Fairy Loot editions still look really good, and it feels like a special collector's edition. But whenever I go through Target, I'm just seeing all these sprayed edges. It feels like they're just doing it so that way they can sell books. I almost feel like a book needs to earn an award at this point before they get their sprayed edges. Akatar being re-released, looking the same, just the covers are dark and then the edges are sprayed black. Like, that's it. And they're expecting us to buy, and people probably will buy the entire series again just to get like the black sprayed edge version. I just miss whenever it felt like creative and special, and now it's like everything has it. Like, we used to have to find somebody on Etsy or online somewhere who was spraying the edges themselves. Like, I miss that. It used to feel like art. Maybe I'm alone in feeling this way. You guys can tell me to just like shut it if that's true. I'm just curious if anyone else feels the same way.
So I love that video, but I also found this other video. Are you just trying to trick me into buying this, or is this a special thing? It doesn't feel special anymore and it's just like that one TikToker just said, if everything has sprayed edges and everything's special, then no one's special anymore, So let's just tone down the special editions. And chill out a little bit. So what do publishers think about this, right? Publishers have definitely noticed this trend. They are aware of this, but as the demand for these extras grows, so do the prices, and sometimes quality drops. I've seen videos in the past of people saying like, oh, this is supposed to be a special edition, but it's really not great quality. I was expecting really good quality for the price that I paid for this.
You guys, these special editions have to be stopped. I literally just saw a video on my For You page of this girl who was super excited to go get the new Rachel Gillick book, The Night and the Moth. And she went to Barnes & Noble, got the book, super excited. She's like unboxing it when she gets home. And she's immediately like, wait, what is this? She's like flipping through the pages. Obviously, it has sprayed edges. Red flag. Then she's like showing the pages and she's like, it's like this thick cardboard, like printer, not even printer paper, like cardboard paper. And she's like, I wonder if there's just like an edition I can get that like doesn't have it. Like, that's crazy. These publishers, you guys are spending money on these like special sprayed edges editions when you could be paying your authors more. How about that? But it's just like crazy to me. I can't. Where have we gone? What is happening?
I mean, you're paying extra for special editions, so you expect top tier. And when something has just sprayed edges, everything is special. When you get a special edition, you know what I mean? You're expecting that much more than just a sprayed edges book. So we're raising the bar on this book economy, expecting something really, really good. And also the price is always like insane. A lot of people don't talk about this, but there's also an environmental cost that I think we need to consider. There's extra packaging that comes with some of these books. There's also the printing of special editions are in smaller batches. That has a greater footprint than a standard print run would have. So that's just something to think about, because we're printing so many different versions of the same book. And maybe that same book is in, your local Goodwill, but you're buying it because it's the pretty version of it. Do we really need another version of it? I don't know. So what can we do? What's the solution for all of this? Well, here are a few of my thoughts. I would say support regular editions of books. There's nothing wrong with a standard paperback or hardcover. Nothing at all. Like, don't feel like you need to go buy the special edition, especially if it's not in your budget. If you want the story, get the version that works for you. Also, champion accessibility here. So publishers should make sure regular editions are always available and affordable, and not make readers feel lesser for choosing those versions of the book, like you're not as cool or whatever. Appreciate beauty of these books, but don't let it pressure you. If you love sprayed edges and foiling and all the extras, that's awesome. You do you. Just remember that you don't need them. It's not a necessity to be a true fan. Also, last but not least, resist FOMO. The fear of missing out on something here is huge. TikTok, let's just try normalizing loving books for their stories, not just how they look on a shelf. And maybe I want a trend where everyone shows their beat up paperbacks and we're all like, look how terrible this book looks. It's falling apart, pages are falling apart, but look how loved it is, like maybe we can do that too. There's nothing wrong with those books. So I just don't like people feeling left out when they can't afford these copies and they're a big reader, but not everybody has a budget for these, At the end, books are for everybody. So whether you want to collect every, variant, or you're happy with a used library copy, you buy secondhand, these stories belong to all of us. And no matter what the edges look like, that's always going to be the truth. So next time when drama erupts about the latest exclusive book or special edition, just remember you're a reader. The magic is in the pages, not the packaging. So let me know in the comments, where do you stand on the sprayed edges and special editions debate? Are you team give me all the pretty books, or are you team just give me the story already? Or are you like me, like I'm somewhere in between on all of this? And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit notification bell so you don't miss out on all my future BookTok drama content. I post every Sunday and Thursday. Thanks for watching, and remember, it's the story that matters the most. Keep reading or writing or watching movies. Whatever you do, have fun with stories. Thank you. Bye.